very common problem for principals, heads of school, superintendents that I work with in private Christian schools, is that they run into this spot where they're pulled in so many directions. They're answering to different board members who have conflicting priorities. They've got teachers, they've got other staff, they've got parents. Everybody's pulling in an opposite direction, and it can feel like they are one person serving multiple masters. And everybody knows that you can't have multiple bosses. Multiple bosses leads to frustration and confusion, and nobody lasts for very long in that kind of environment. And so I want to tell you about this principle called the single employee principle. Now, if you are in a board-run school, you have several members who make up your board. And then we have, depending on the size of your school, we have an executive director. It's a principal, a head of school, maybe a superintendent that is hired to lead the organization. Now, when this works in a healthy way, when the board has a single employee, the board comes together, usually a very involved group of individuals that could be current parents or alumni or leaders in the community, and they are leading a school. They are responsible to lead a school well. So they might set the vision for who the school is, where it's going, the horizon for what it's trying to become. They will set the budget, and they might even set the metrics that are measuring the health of the school. And then what they do is they hire one single employee. They have one single employee that they have hired and reports to them. And they challenge, or they ask that director, that principal, head of school, whatever it is, to execute on that vision. So they have set a vision, they've set aside the dollars for it, they have set the metrics, the measuring stick by which they're going to measure success towards that vision. They've set that, and then they hire one person. That one person then hires the teachers that they need, hires the support staff, and the administration that they need to accomplish that vision, to accomplish what the board has asked them to do. And when you have those clear lines, when you have those clear responsibilities, the leader is allowed to lead and not just to manage complaints and conflicting priorities. They're allowed to lead. And so when a board, specifically with lots of great opinions in a board, that's probably why they're sitting there, when they come together and when they speak with one single voice to the one person that they've hired, then they can begin to allow that leader to lead well. It does put a lot of pressure on this leader, but they now have the space to lead and to make those decisions, right? They're not trying to convince the board of who they need to hire or what curriculum that they need to use. They're not convincing the same way. They are arguing that metric is they're meeting that metric. So that curriculum is helping them to meet the expectations that the board has set, or that the staff turnover that is being addressed by the person that is running the school. So that single employee principle, it allows the board to set the mission, the vision, the goals, to measure them, right? To say, here's the metrics we're going to measure by. This is the scoreboard that we're using. And it empowers you as the principal to lead. So my challenge is, send this video to your board member. Send it to your chair or your board chair and say, this is what this would help. This is, if you had this kind of clarity, it would make your job easier. And you'd be allowed to lead. Although it puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders to come through and to be a good leader in that. But honestly, I think it's the only environment in which a board-run school can run in a healthy way, is if your point leader has the ability to lead, the challenge to lead well, and really the follow-through to lead well. So single employee principle, I think it's going to remove a lot of the frustration. You feel like you're pulled in a lot of directions, and you can just redirect some of that stuff when it comes in. Say, well, does it meet what the board was asking for? Then yeah, I'm going to address it and move forward. If it doesn't, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm just going to put it in a parking lot for now. We'll come back to it at a later time. But my job as the principal is to fulfill these things using the staff that I've hired to make it happen.